Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Port Royal, South Carolina's budget workshop. I believe this is our third and final budget workshop for the year 2024. We apologize for being a little late. We got some AC issues going on in the building. We've got some fans running in here, so it's not too terrible. And so we appreciate everybody for hanging in there with us and with that. So and now I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is our budget workshop for 6 p.m. We're starting here at 6:06 on June 5th. Van and staff kind of want to kick us off and take it away.
All right, sure. The couple of budgets that we want to look at specifically for this particular workshop were executive and council. Obviously, executive is the kind of administrative function for the town. Obviously, council's expenditures related to y'all's department. And real quickly, let's cover, for this purposes, let's look at the council legislative budget. And what you'll note here, I wish we could shrink this top section so I could get everything up on the screen, is the budget for the previous fiscal year was $286,513. The anticipated budget for the upcoming fiscal year is $333,663. One of the biggest changes, or one of the expenditures that we're looking at in particular, is projects and contributions. If you look at the detail down below, you can see where much of that discretion in that line item is located. Those are your contributions to the different organizations and projects that you undertake during the course of the year. As you can see, we're about 120 plus thousand in that particular line item. Obviously, one of the other big changes in expenditures from the previous fiscal year to the drafted budget have to do with health insurance. We're seeing a little bit of a bump in that, of roughly $25,000 from the previous year. But overall, this is one of the smaller departmental budgets that we do have, and obviously we do have some travel and training that's included as well. But the cost of living adjustment is for the personnel. Not for y'all, but for the personnel that are included in this particular budget. Are there any questions about this one? I mean, obviously, that what I mentioned is the projects and contributions line item and where you guys want to fall on that this year. You've had some requests that may alter that line item, might drive it up some. And if that's the case, we'll have to go back and make some tweaks, because the budget that you have in front of you right now is balanced at a little over $10 million.
Okay, so will you roll down just a little bit, please?
I need to get this out of the way. I don't like this. This whole thing. I want this. I don't need this. No. Anyways. Let's get rid of
Formula bar.
No. Anyways, where would y'all like me to scroll on this page?
I was just looking at, so you needed some clarification on the projects and contributions below, correct?
Yeah.
So we got Historic Port Royal Foundation at $56,000 for last year?
That was the previous
Okay,
year.
because I thought we did $60,000 for them, but
Yeah.
I see it. I guess there's that first quarter was a little different. $40,000 for the Economic Development Corp. Military Enhancement Corporation, $15,000, $5,000. South Coast Cyber Center. SK Designs for the 22 miles an hour signs, which look great. Alpha Graphics with the logo. John Parker Day, Friends of the Port Royal Cypress Wetlands. So if that is budgeted, if that's balanced right now, then even getting that 56 to 60 will add a little bit to it, right?
Correct.
Okay. Because I thought we were there. Well, and are these the Economic Development Corp and the MEC and the South Coast Cyber Center? That was their asks?
Yeah, they're the Economic Development Corporation and the MEC contribution are the same for the upcoming fiscal year.
Okay.
And then, we have contributed annually to the Cyber Center event. And then we do have, the reason why Chris included these details, to give you an idea of some of the things that you do contribute on an annual basis. We do John Parker every year, and obviously we do participate in the Friends of Cypress Wetlands Birthday for the Birds annually as well. And then we've just had different expenditures, and there will be things that come up this fiscal year, the upcoming fiscal year, with the y'all will contribute.
Okay.
Different events across the county, and in particular Port Royal.
Okay. So, well, I'll go ahead and say this to just the council, kind of where my head's at. I mean, I'm good with all of those. I know that the Port Royal Foundation had asked for considerably more than that. I think they asked for 90,000, if I'm right. We talk about our boards and a lot of these nonprofits, and they've raised money, they fundraise for themselves. So I mean, I'm kind of, this is just what I'm thinking. I'll throw it out there. Kind of keeping them at that 60,000 level that they're at, and then potentially looking at some sort of match system. Whereas if you raise 10,000, we'll get you another 10,000. That gets you to 80. That's just where I'm at. I kind of keeping it at 60, and then if there's some work on that end from the group, and they raise money, then we can kind of meet that with more funds. And so, just an idea, throwing it out there.
How would we match it?
I think right off the head, I was just dollar for dollar.
But I'm just saying, where would it come from?
It's not budgeted.
Yeah.
If,
Good
let's just
question.
say hypothetically,
Yeah. Good question.
we were to endorse that, and they were to raise $10,000, where would we pull that $10,000 from to match it?
And have we been, what kind of money have they produced prior? And my concern is that any money that we give to any organization is for the organization and not for any kind of employee salaries or bonuses or anything. It has to strictly be for the benefit and the help to promote the town and what it's used for, like the wetlands or the Historic Foundation. I think we have to really look at that and make sure that we're spending taxpayers' dollars that's really benefiting the town.
Yeah. And it's definitely something we should, on all these groups, do a better job of just kind of
Right.
staying on top of, like, maybe having them give us a
report.
like a 6-month kind of report. Where you at? What we've dispersed? What do you see? But that is a good question, Van. If the budget is balanced, and let's say we did something like that, and they came up with 10, where would?
You would have to build it into that line item.
Okay, so
You
that
basically
sets
have
that
to
up.
include it and anticipate it, and if you didn't spend it, you didn't spend it. But I'd have to tweak
But now
something
where would we pull it
somewhere
from?
else.
Where would we cut now to build that in there?
Yeah.
Where would we cut it from to build that in?
Yeah.
To put it in.
Yeah. And he's saying, where would we cut that to put it in there? So,
And I guess
I'd have to look across all departmental budgets.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And is it fair to the other organizations?
Yeah.
And we look at how many people come through the Historic Foundation and how many people come to the Cypress Wetlands. We don't do a whole lot with the Cypress Wetlands, and that produces a lot of foot traffic. I mean, there's other things that we could do to promote it, and should we put that much money into one group
tax money?
and we're not seeing
Yeah, we do
anything
it to
come
E-tax.
back
Where is
to
that?
help do it itself?
I don't know if I'm seeing that's its own. Yeah. And do we know, as far as ATAX money, where, I mean, we don't have an ATAX representative here, but how much of that has been collected, how much of that's been given out, how much of that's still
And
there?
what can it be utilized for?
Yeah.
It's for,
We had, what, 10,000? Yeah.
10,000 given out or 10,000?
No, that's what you had allocated for
Only
Okay.
10,000.
And only 25's gone out, or 5?
25.
2,500's gone out, so there's still 7,500 there.
That's no money.
Okay.
That's no money.
Well, then, well,
What is it? I guess I need to know and understand in my head, if I'm gonna give you $60,000 for a volunteer group, then I wanna see in return what you're doing to help yourself to try to get money.
Like help.
Because there's other organizations in this
Help.
community, not only the wetlands.
Help.
But Help of Beaufort, any of those things, that we could use some of that money to help them instead of all of it going to one organization. That's my personal opinion. I don't believe it should be attached to any salaries, should not be attached to bonus. It needs to something that's gonna promote this town, because that's what we're here for with that. y'all
Do they
can feel
receive
different.
grants?
Do grants. Have you researched grants for y'all?
I think so. Well, then, well, that kind of changes it. Like you said, if the budget is balanced, we don't want to pull anything from that, then I kind of
And where?
pull back for that and say, then I'm okay with, you would just do 60,000 for that.
So that's an extra.
I mean, that's still an extra, yeah.
$3,700. Where's it
Yeah.
coming from?
And if you're doing it every quarter, so much a quarter, what are we
Report
gonna
every
do
quarter.
to show what they're doing and how much money they're gonna bring in
Yeah.
to really show that we're doing something and that they're helping and we're not funding the whole thing?
Yeah, we'll just ask for a
There's just a questions.
6 months,
That's a lot.
6-month kind of input, review, give us an update, so. Well, then, I mean, like I said, if you the budget's balanced and anything we do, we gotta pull from somewhere else. Could you make 60 work?
I mean, but
It's
yeah,
in the budget.
Okay,
yeah, definitely.
because that's 3,800.
Yeah, right now you're at 6,000, 115, and then if we get the request from the cyber center, you're at 120. So you've got discretionary $5,000 in projects and contributions.
Okay. Well,
I'll support it.
yeah, I'm okay with doing 60 for them and keeping everybody else where they're at. What else do we need to?
What do we do? What do we contribute to? What is the John Parker Day contribution for?
That's, we do it every year.
I mean,
We
what
help
does it-
underwrite that event.
What I mean, whatever their needs are.
We underwrite the event.
Oh, we underwrite the event. And what was the past budget? You know.
It's been $600, and then about 4 years ago, it increased to $700.
Okay, so that's reasonable. You think that's reasonable?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I just one reason for asking.
How do y'all feel about
That's fair, 1,000.
It's
But I
fine.
mean, if they're not spending 1,000, then it's.
Yeah.
If they're not spending 1,000, there's no need to pay it. If we're not spending 1,000.
We just, yeah, it's basically the underwriting the food and some of the other things.
And then have an update from them in 6 months.
I mean, I'm okay with the budget,
that? It's just.
but I would just ask.
We're
them.
not voting on it tonight.
Yeah, okay.
We can think about
So we're not voting on it tonight, so that's kind of any input, any council, any input, okay? All right.
We'll flip over to executives. Previous year's budget, $1,406,191. And the anticipated budget for the upcoming fiscal year is $1,371,450. And if you look at the memo, one of the explanation for that reduction is tied to the capital improvement set aside. If y'all recall from the last workshop, we decided to use that capital improvement set aside and reallocate it to the Streets and Sanitation Public Works Department for the purchase of a piece of equipment that was needed in the department. So those dollars were reallocated. And as you see in this particular budget, the typical expenditures that we're seeing across all of the departmental budgets, 3.2% cost of living adjustment, the 11.8% employer increase for health insurance. And if you go down to a couple, obviously where we're really big is special contracts for legal and engineering. Obviously, we've been very active this last year, particularly in the legal side of it. We will hopefully be seeing some reimbursement for those expenses as per the development agreement. So I do not anticipate the same amount of legal expenses for the upcoming fiscal year as the current fiscal year.
We need to add more to town hall maintenance with the AC going out?
Probably.
Probably, but it's the
What's
current
the-
fiscal year, so
What's the age of this? But that's
Yeah.
That's a capital.
Obviously.
Yeah, I was wondering how old that unit is.
That's a capital expenditure.
yeah.
Yep.
And it's probably something we can address in this fiscal year.
Okay.
Ben, do we do any kind of, like, if someone uses a credit card, a 3% charge for that or anything like?
I'm not,
I know a lot of times I'll go places and pay, and if I use a credit card, it's a 3% charge on top of that.
no.
And that just doesn't cover much.
But we have to pay it, so when we have to pay it.
Yeah, and I think Chris has negotiated down that fee several times. It's, yeah. And we could conceivably add that, but. And just real quickly, if there are no questions about that, obviously where we are right now, anticipated budget for the upcoming fiscal year, $10,179,300
And we are balanced.
balanced.
Port Royal, 8-figure budget.
Yes.
Wow.
It's the largest I've seen.
Yeah, wow.
Definitely the
Still
largest.
significantly smaller than everybody else.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. And just and something to bring up to you, Van, and Jerry and I had been talking about it when we had our, and I don't know where this is on the budget or where to put it, but something just maybe to look at it in the future, keep in mind, was when we did the parade and took the golf cart down, and the trailer that we had for it was,
Massive.
it's a nice trailer for
Yeah.
bulldozer.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
So we had the golf cart on it, and it was just a lot. So I mean, I'm just saying, the more we're going to use the golf cart and be in events and parades and get that places, I didn't know if there's equipment for it or something to look in for just a smaller little.
Well, I
safer
think,
rack of that.
I think with the anticipated expenditure for the new backhoe is about 134, 135. So you've got 150,000 in the capital expenditures, street sanitation, so we
Okay.
could look smaller.
Like I said, just something little, just to,
Yeah.
because I mean, I think we're starting to see more parades, more events, more, just
yeah.
things. I mean, if we talked about going out to maybe doing Yemassie's festivals and Jasper's festivals, and just, I mean, so it was. Thank you for helping me get that trailer down there and parking it.
A big thing.
It was a big boy, yeah. So, okay, yeah, just something I wanted to get out there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we can.
Okay. All right, and then something to, I wanted to express to everyone in the public as well too. That just to reiterate, and I think it just shows the great work that y'all do. Is this budget? It hasn't gone up significantly, but at the same time, we're not raising the millage rate at all. Correct?
No.
No, millage rate staying the same. All of this is really based on property values increase, and a lot of business licenses revenues have come up. So I think that's impressive that we can continue to provide those services, run the town, and not have to raise taxes to do it. So that's good.
Thank you, Van, and staff.
Yeah. Anything else from y'all?
I think we're good.
You're good? You get anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Got anything over here, council members?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, at this time, we will now close the budget workshop. And just to stay on track, we'll take a 5-minute break. I need to step outside. 6:30, we will be back with public hearing, followed by council workshop.